Good evening. My name's Denny. This is my plant-based journey. It's time for some supper. It's been a long day. I want something quick and easy. So how about some green pea soup? Stick around. Enjoy this recipe with me. So I chopped up a great big Texas onion. It is sweeter than a yellow onion or a Spanish onion. And it's pretty large. And I made it pretty coarse chop because we're going to run all this through a blender in just a little while. So this is a big onion. We're going to put it into the pan and we're going to saute it using water. The pan is hot. Here we go. Alright, so my onions are starting to soften, and as they continue to get ready to roll, I'm going to add 5 cups of vegetable broth. I'm going to put 4 in basically, and probably about a cup of water instead. That way I don't have to open another carton of the vegetable broth. But we're going to start with this broth, and that'll start making the liquid for the soup. Alright, now it's time to start adding the seasonings while this is coming up to temperature. I'm going to add tarragon. I'm going to put about a teaspoon of tarragon in this recipe. You don't need to go too heavy with tarragon. You could probably go another half teaspoon if you wanted, or you go a little less. Tarragon's really strong, so don't overdo it with the tarragon. Alright, if you want salt, you can add salt. If not, you can wait and add salt at the table. That's what a lot of people like to do. The salt probably needs to be about a teaspoon of salt as well. One of the great ingredients is using cracked pepper. It will bring alive the flavors, and there's not much better, in my opinion, than having fresh cracked black pepper. I love garlic, I love cumin, you know that already, but black pepper, cracked black pepper tastes great, and it'll be good in this soup. Alright, so my broth is now coming to a boil. I'm going to add 2 bags of green peas, frozen green peas, and I'm going to cook them until they begin to defrost and are softer. And then we're going to transfer them to a blender. We'll blend them, and then we'll put them back in the pot. Alright, so I transferred about half the mix into the blender, into my Ninja, and I'm going to puree it. If you remember, the last time that I did this, I overfilled it and the lid came off and I burned my hand, so I didn't put quite as much this time. So I'm going to pulse it a few times, and then we'll get it blended, and I'll add it back to the pot. Alright, this one has a little bit more water than the second half, but I'm going to add it back to the pot and bring it to a simmer, and I'm going to blend the second half of this recipe. Alright, so here's the 2 mixtures together. As you can see, it is still a little bit watery. We're going to let this cook down a little bit. I'll bring it back up to temperature, and then we'll start to serve it. Alright, so the soup is starting to thicken up. I probably shouldn't have added that extra cup of water that I did. Just using the 4 cups of the broth would have been plenty good. If you want to make this at home and this is too big of a pot for you, just cut it in half. Just use half an onion, use half the seasonings, use just 1 bag of the peas. But I always like to cook for the next day also, so I made enough that I can have this for tonight and a couple of meals tomorrow. So there is a big pot of green pea soup. I'm going to put it over some rice that's cooking in my rice cooker. There's other ways in which you could eat this. You could also do something that some people like to do, and that is add non-dairy yogurt to it. It'll make it creamier. We're just going to put it over rice, but you could do many different things with it. You could make the cashew yogurt if you wanted to. But the fact is, it just tastes like a beautiful soup. You can taste the tarragon. It has a beautiful color, and it is good and tasty. It's a little grainy. I could have blended it longer, but this will be perfect for what I'm going to do. Oh yeah, the peas and the tarragon are wonderful together, and that sweet onion really helped. I hope you try this recipe, and if you do, let me know what you think. My name is Denny. This is my plant-based journey, and like I said before, I'm in a hurry. It's time for supper. I'll see you next time.